I was so disappointed to read an article a few days ago in the Financial Times that said that London was the main drag to the UK productivity growth between 2019 and 2022. And my impression is that it hasn't changed greatly, and that despite all the rhetoric, we haven't got it right. We have to consider this productivity dilemma that looms over the UK, and it's a challenge so persistent it's earned the unenviable moniker of Britain as a puzzle, as Britain as a country that isn't moving forward. We know productivity matters, and it's the foundation of higher wages, of better living standards, and robust public services. Yet here we are grappling with stagnation, which frankly has been ongoing since the 2008 financial crisis, with the added turbulence of Brexit and of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. But it doesn't matter how much we focus on who's to blame and what's gone wrong. If we're not looking forward to a solution, we're going to continue to repeat the same problems. And the scale of this issue becomes clear when we look at recent data. Productivity growth has slowed to a crawl at just 0.5% annually, compared to the 2% average of past decades. And this stagnation costs the average household an estimated £11,500 annually in lost potential. Even more telling is that according to the FT, according to the Financial Times, London, which should be this key economic engine, saw a 2.7% fall in output per hour between 2019 and 2022. This represents a productivity gap between London and the rest of the UK that's been ongoing since 1998. And it's a cause for concern. It highlights the impact, of course, of the pandemic and of London's underperformance relative to the national average. It highlights the problems of Brexit. It highlights the problems of the east of Europe and Putin. It highlights the doom and gloom. And we can look around to try and explain why London is in this mess and why the UK is in this mess. And then, every so often, you have this amazing moment where you meet somebody and you talk to people who exude positivity. And I had an intriguing conversation with a company called Tetradia a couple of days ago. And I'll leave details about it in the description because I was so impressed with them. And we talked about the deplorable state of our productivity as a nation. And the company helpfully lined up so many of the mistakes that successive governments have made recently. But instead of sort of poking the finger at Kemi Badenoch or Rachel Reeves or whoever, they were resolute and fierce in the conviction that the UK can see beyond the clear failure of individuals to motivate our economy, and that there really is a way forward. I thought that was refreshing. I thought it was too refreshing not to share it with you. And I should add, by the way, this is not a paid promotion. It comes from the heart, from being convinced and having heard some positivity at last about our country and the way forward. And I think we should build on that positivity. And I think what Tetradia is doing is something that should be repeated around the country. And I spoke to a person called Sammy, who provided a sobering insight that half of UK firms contributed 90% of the country's meagre productivity growth between 2011 and 2024, while the other half barely grew at all. And this stark divide highlights the nature of the problem. And encouragingly, Tetradia offers solutions rooted in AI and advanced analytics to help struggling firms leveraging data to transform their performance. And while this isn't a blanket endorsement, their optimism is a refreshing counterpoint to the narrative of despair that I'm afraid I quite often sort of trump out. So it's a really invigorating opportunity for me personally to be able to praise one particular company. So to think of the solutions, investment is critical, whether in innovation, in education, in infrastructure, and AI is a prime example. It has the potential to revolutionize productivity, but so far it's primarily benefited only the top 10% of digitally savvy firms. And bridging this gap requires targeted policies that make advanced tools and the requisite skills accessible across the board. And that's what this company is doing, I think. Education is another cornerstone. Northern Ireland, the least productive UK region, lags because of lower levels of qualification. And investing in skills from early education to adult retraining can and will unlock significant growth. And I think we need to rethink the way our education is presented. I've talked about this in the past. Likewise, housing and transport policy must align to ensure workers can afford to live near jobs that accurately match their skills. I think this is a positive first step and it shows a way forward. We don't have to moan about Rachel Reeves or sulk about Kemi Badenoch. We can take matters into our own hands and restart the economy. And that's a matter of pooling resources and shouting out what is working. If you know of other companies doing what Tetradia is doing, I think we need to share that positivity and send out signals that what is good is to be celebrated. I would like this site to become a beacon for growth in the UK. And this productivity challenge that we find ourselves in is not insurmountable, but it demands long-term vision and consistency and positivity. I think we need to reject policy churn and embrace coherent, positive strategy, one that prioritizes innovation, inclusivity, sustainability, and only then can we solve this puzzle of the UK. Only then can we really rise above being the question mark on the edge of Europe to being the exclamation mark again of productivity, of passion, of permanence. Only then can we usher in an era of shared prosperity. All these P's, we need a few more P's, and we need to invest in what we're doing. We need to nurture the positive. And if we do that well enough, we can get rid of all that negativity, because it doesn't matter where it's coming from, it just needs to go. So I'll leave the details for Tetradia down below, and follow it up if you need data analysis, and if you think this is a company that can help you, look into it. And as I say, let's also start collecting the best examples for pulling Britain out of the doldrums and making us positive and passionate and productive again.